Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. And somebody asked me about my business email. Coming to you Friday, January the 28th, and the year is 2022. Let's talk trading. Weekly wrap up. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. So we'll take a quick look here at the monthly chart. As you can see, we are 141 pips below the monthly open, 28 off the monthly low, and 364 off of the weekly high. I'm sorry, the monthly high. Switching back to, or going over to the weekly, we have all gaps filled. Now, real interesting, we didn't hit the weekly pivot point, but if you go back, we took out the monthly pivot point. Yesterday, we broke out of the opening range for the month. You can see we touched it, just barely crossed above it, and then dropped down, almost back to the daily open. We're 3 pips above it at the moment. One other thing to note, the open for the month is also the open for the year, and you can see price almost crossed it on Wednesday, didn't quite, and then has reversed off of that open. So you can see we've expanded how the range of the month expanded right here. One of the things statistically, if you look at the high minus the open and then the open minus the low, you'll see how things are pretty much falling into the ranges that are normal. Okay. Once again, 142 pips below the yearly open. Looking at the monthly chart here, you can see where we are as compared to last year. When we finally broke out of that monthly inside bar from 3 months ago. So if we turn this into a monthly chart, you can see it right there. So you see we broke out of the December high, but didn't hit the inside bar high. And then price reversed through those 2 wick zones, came on down, and then finally broke out yesterday. Came back and touched it today and then reversed. So once again, showing how these horizontal lines, no matter which ones you pick, you can trade off of them. Just remember to have your risk management in place because your results may differ from mine. And at the moment, not too much inside bar action here. Range. We've got a couple of pairs over 200 pips, and we've got a total of 5 pairs over 100 pips, with the pound clocking in at only 68 pips, and it looks like today is setting up as an inside bar so far. Right back to that daily open, you can see we're hovering around it. Really interesting. We had some news come out, so switching over to 30 minutes, we can see what effect the news had. But then once again, this huge bar we call a return bar. In fact, I just sent Walmart a text saying, look, price returned. So that's something to look for, is when you see those huge bars, price returning. You know, here's another huge bar, and it took it a while, but then price returned to the open. And red rats and green rats both got the feast today, and the feast it was. Okay, it looks like here we're sitting on the crossing that pivot point here. It says price near the pivot to go short. It looks like that paid off a couple of times. We took out the daily pivot as was just shown, we didn't take out the weekly pivot, but we took out the monthly pivot. So there hasn't been a missed monthly pivot since 2014. Now, it might not hit it in the same month, but it definitely filled it. So this shows the ones that are still open. This shows all the ones that were missed on that day. So these are missed but closed. Or these are ones that have missed. These are the ones that have missed, some of which have been hit. Oh, and a trader asked out on YouTube, and I answered there. They was looking at one of the videos and wondered how he could get the indicators, and he was looking at 2014 donational indicators. I believe it was one of the wick zone videos I put out there. Speaking of wick zones, and there's the indicators here. This is the plot one, and these two are the frequency distributions. And you can see we had some very nice price action here. Crisscrossing, this is the open line, but in and out of that wick zone. And just remember, when we have a I need to change the time frame to daily. So you can see here, 73% of the time, price likes to close outside of a wick zone. Okay, let's take a look at the ranges. I mentioned something about the month, so let's start with the month. You can see the high minus the open, 222, open minus low, 169. So see 49 and 50. We're right, right around the middle there over the last 12 months. That's what this is indicating. So you can see we are slightly above average here and slightly below average here, but it's a target. So when you see these numbers really small, you know something's pretty much has to give. And that's what I look for. On the weekly, 208 pip range, 66 percentile. Remember last week was only 114 and it was an inside bar. And so you can see how when we have a small, seems like a big's followed, get a couple small ranges in a row, and you wind up getting usually a big move. Okay, high minus previous high, we didn't break out. Previous low minus low, we broke out 188 pips, 91 percentile. So that was a huge trade. High minus the close for the rats right now, 184 and 24. So as I mentioned earlier, rats are feasting. The high minus open, taking the buy zone, only 17 pips, 8 percentile, but open minus low, 191, 91 percentile over the past 12 weeks. Once again, showing the possibilities by trading these simple horizontal lines. I'm really thinking you can trade with the days open or the current open for the day, and then the previous day's high and low. If you just put those three lines on the chart, you can pretty much trade. Or you could use the wick zone. It'll give you one more line of the 4 lines, but just trading those can prove to be profitable. You can use the sweet spots, wall mall method here. As you can see, there was some nice price action earlier. I guess all the boys in New York are or have left, go to the Hamptons or wherever. So as you can see, the momentum's died down, volatility's died down, and so the range is just trailing off. But there was some nice ranging there for a while. And the lowest high, highest low you can see here on the M5, put a one ball above, but price either closes above a line or it doesn't. It didn't, and the rest you can see. Oh, I wanted to show something that I was working on. Hold on just a second. What I did was, first let me show you the indicators. 4 copies of TRO above, below for today plus the previous day, for this week and this month. Should probably do one for this year, now that I think about it, but I'll have to work on that. Now we've got the indicator 2 with the diamonds. Now somebody said that they tried changing the size of the diamonds, but it kept going back. I'm not sure what you're doing, but I set my bar width to 3 right here, and it works just fine. Make sure you download the latest and greatest copy of the indicator, because maybe you have an earlier version that's buggy. And I made a couple of mods to HL5 and to the spread dots also. The one thing I did to the spread dots was give you the ability to put a line out there, because we always talk about looking left, and that helps you look left to see what price is cutting through. So in this particular case, I've got the HL5 set for the highest close and lowest close of the, this is on the monthly chart. Let's get this back over to the 30-minute chart. And if you're wondering, this is just the previous day shaded. So here we've got the highest close, lowest close, which is, if you think about it, it's just one bar different than the highest open, lowest open. But since I already had holo indicators, I put the close in the HL5. So here you can see we have the highest close, and price failed to close above that. Otherwise, it would be a new higher close. So you can see price didn't close there. It tested it again, and then tested it again, put in a new high, but still failed to close. So when you see this happening and you see price running back, this is where you can jump in, and this last one paid off. And so what the indicator is telling you here, so for today, it's going back 42 bars, because there's 42 M30 bars at the moment, and it's saying 37 of them closed above the current price, and 5 out of the 42 closed below. For today plus the previous day, 80 out of 90 closed above the current price, and 10 out of 90 closed below. For the week, 225 out of 235 closed above, and 10 closed below. So notice this number matches this number, and then we get to the month, 939 bars out of 949 M30 bars closed above this price, and only 10 closed below. So you can see here we're making some new lows. We're in the low part. And so earlier today, I noticed yesterday, if you look here, the lowest close was down here in these wick zones. But what did price do? It started coming up through these wick zones and took off. And so that's where you would look to do a possible rat trade or breakout of a previous high, something of that nature. Some people would say, hey, there's an order block right there. Hey, look at that. And then there was an order block. It took out the imbalance, came back up and through, came back, tested that level a couple of times, you can see right there, and reversed off of it. But you can do this in real time, not just hairy hindsight. So, fellow traders, I hope you had a profitable week. It's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks.